It's the kind of moment nobody saw coming, the kind of silence that suddenly feels louder than any scandal in Hollywood. Because when Kandi Burruss finally opened her mouth, the truth didn't just slip out, it shattered everything fans thought they knew about her marriage to Todd Tucker. People are calling it the biggest shock to hit the reality TV world this year, and honestly, they're not wrong. For months, the whispers were getting louder. The missing ring, the cold stares, the solo appearances. But now we're learning that behind those red carpet smiles, something much darker was brewing. Something that reportedly left Kandi questioning everything, her trust, her loyalty, even the future she thought she was building. And the wildest part? Sources say Kandi stayed quiet to protect someone or something. But that silence? It's broken now. And what's starting to leak out from behind the scenes has fans gasping: betrayal, hypocrisy, and a shocking shift in loyalty that nobody expected. But here's the thing. The real scandal isn't what Kandi said. It's what she didn't say. And trust me, if the rumors are true, this story is just getting started. Kandi Burruss has always been the woman who seemed impossible to shake. Grammy-winning songwriter, business mogul, reality TV icon. She built her empire brick by brick, refusing to let the chaos of fame swallow her whole. To the public, she was the definition of strength. The no-nonsense queen of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the one who stayed calm when everyone else exploded, the one fans always trusted to tell the truth even when it hurt. Her brand was built on loyalty, hard work, and being unshakably real. And for years, people believed she had the personal life to match that reputation: stable, loving, secure. A rare Hollywood marriage that looked like it might actually survive the spotlight. Enter Todd Tucker, the producer-turned-reality star who walked into Kandi's life like he had been written into her script from the very beginning. Their love story seemed almost too perfect, a hardworking couple building multiple businesses together, raising a blended family, and proving that partnership, real partnership, can survive fame, money, and constant public scrutiny. Fans adored them. The entertainment industry respected them. They were the couple that made it look easy until the cracks began to show. People remember the early milestones, the emotional wedding, the birth of their children, the opening of their restaurants, their joint ventures that seemed to multiply every year. To outsiders, they were an example of how to mix love and business without losing either. But behind the scenes, things were becoming increasingly complicated. And the biggest red flag wasn't a fight, an argument, or a public meltdown. It was something quieter, something almost invisible at first. It started with small moments on social media. One day, Kandi posted a smiling selfie with a caption that read, "Protecting my peace at all costs." Nothing unusual. But fans noticed she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. They brushed it off. Maybe she just forgot. Maybe she had been working out. Maybe it wasn't that deep. But then it happened again. And again. Suddenly her followers were asking in the comments, "Where's the ring? Everything okay, Kandi? Why does she look sad?" She ignored the questions, choosing her usual approach: silence. Todd, meanwhile, wasn't posting much at all. And when he did, he looked distant, distracted. Photos of him at events alone sparked speculation. A video surfaced of him backstage at a production shoot, looking tense, exhausted, almost defeated. The clip wasn't scandalous on its own, but in context, it made people wonder if something bigger was going on, something neither of them wanted to talk about publicly. Their public appearances together didn't help. At one event, fans swear they saw Kandi step away from Todd as he tried to walk beside her. At another, she smiled for the cameras, but her eyes looked glassy, unfocused. Online detectives began stitching these moments together, building a narrative that made people uncomfortable. But still, nothing was confirmed. Then came the interviews. Subtle, seemingly harmless questions from entertainment hosts. How's married life? How do you two balance business and love? Kandi answered with short, carefully chosen lines like, "We make it work," or "Every marriage has its seasons." But it was what she didn't say that people latched onto. She didn't gush the way she used to. She didn't mention Todd unless prompted. And when asked about future family plans, she shifted the conversation to work, saying, "I'm focusing on myself these days." For fans who had followed her for over a decade, the change was impossible to ignore. Kandi was a master at managing her public image, but sometimes the truth leaks out in the cracks. And those cracks were getting bigger. The rumors intensified when Todd was spotted at a private industry event with a noticeably different energy, laughing, drinking, looking more carefree than he had in months. Someone snapped a blurry photo of him talking closely with a woman at the bar. Nothing inappropriate, nothing incriminating. But the internet doesn't need facts to start a conversation. Screenshots filled Twitter with captions like, "Where's Kandi tonight?" and "Todd looks way too happy for someone in a happy marriage." But the biggest shift didn't come from Todd. It came from Kandi herself. One night, she posted a black and white photo, just her, looking out a window with the caption, "Sometimes silence speaks louder than words." Within minutes, the comments exploded. People begged her to explain. Others insisted she was teasing a project. But then a fan tweeted, "No, this is a breakup post. I can feel it." The tweet went viral. Around this time, insiders began whispering about distance and tension, words that kept popping. What happened next didn't unfold all at once. It came in pieces, little cracks forming in what once looked like an unbreakable empire. And if you trace the timeline, the signs weren't just there, they were practically screaming, but nobody realized how serious they were until now. The shift reportedly began about a year ago, when fans noticed something strange. Kandi and Todd, once inseparable at events, started showing up alone. At first, people assumed it was simply scheduling conflicts, two busy, successful people juggling careers. But then came the behind-the-scenes whispers. A stylist allegedly told a fan page that the couple barely spoke backstage at a taping of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Another insider claimed the two were staying in different rooms during a production trip, with Todd reportedly needing space. And that's when the emotional distance started to spill over into the digital world. Fans were the first to notice Kandi posting more motivational quotes than usual, the kind that sound uplifting on the surface but feel heavy when you read between the lines. One post read, "When people stop matching your energy, stop giving them yours." Another said, "Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers." People began connecting dots that, at the time, felt like wild speculation. But now, those dots are practically neon lights. The turning point reportedly came during a major family event that both were expected to attend. Kandi was there, glowing, smiling, trying to maintain her usual energy, but Todd was nowhere in sight. When asked by a fan where he was, she simply said, "Oh, he's busy with work." But even through the polished smile, fans sensed something was off. That clip spread across social media with millions of views, with commenters writing things like, "She looks heartbroken," and "That's not the Kandi we know." Then came what many now believe was the moment the relationship truly fractured, a project Todd reportedly pursued, without consulting Kandi. Sources say it became a point of tension, with Kandi feeling blindsided and Todd feeling held back. Allegedly, arguments became more frequent, more intense, and more personal. Not the explosive kind, but the quiet, heavy kind that eats at a relationship from the inside out. A production assistant from a show they were both working on reportedly told a gossip outlet that the energy between them changed dramatically. They were professional, the source claimed, but the warmth was gone. It felt like two co-workers, not a married couple. Meanwhile, commentary channels across YouTube began picking up on the story. Some accused Todd of drifting emotionally. Others claimed Kandi had been pouring herself into work to avoid the issues at home. One viral video titled, "Are Kandi and Todd on the Rocks?" had fans arguing nonstop in the comments. But the moment everything nearly erupted publicly came during a red carpet event earlier this year. It was supposed to be a glamorous night, the kind where celebrity couples shine for the cameras. But when Todd arrived separately, and when the two barely acknowledged each other in front of photographers, the rumors exploded. The media caught what looked like a tense, whispered exchange between them. No one knows what was said, but the photos went viral instantly. Fan reactions were intense. One person wrote on Twitter, "I've never seen Kandi look so sad." Another said, "Todd's energy is OFF." What is happening? And while the internet spiraled, insiders were reportedly saying the couple was trying to hold on but struggling. Another source, someone who allegedly visited their home often, claimed the atmosphere felt cold and that the two spent most of their time in separate parts of the house. But the most shocking development came from someone in their close circle who claimed the split wasn't triggered by one big betrayal, but by a series of small ones: emotional neglect, unspoken resentment, mixed priorities, and a growing sense of imbalance. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, but constant enough to eventually break the foundation. What made fans even more suspicious was Todd's sudden increase in cryptic posts. He shared a photo that simply said, "When people switch up, don't chase." Another read, "Peace is better than proving a point." At that point, the public was practically begging for answers. But Kandi and Todd stayed silent, watching the world create theories, some wild, some painfully close to the truth. And then, quietly, without any big announcement, they reportedly separated. Friends of the couple allegedly said the decision was mutual, but others whispered a different story. That one person had emotionally checked out long before the other realized what was happening. But just when fans thought the drama had peaked, Kandi broke her silence. And that's when everything shifted. Because her version of events didn't just confirm the rumors, it gave the world a glimpse into a heartbreak that had been unfolding behind closed doors for far longer than anyone imagined. And yet, even then, she didn't tell the whole story. At least, not yet. When Kandi finally spoke out, the fallout didn't hit all at once. It came in waves: public, private, emotional, and even allegedly legal. And every wave revealed something deeper, something heavier, something that made the world realize this wasn't just a celebrity breakup. This was the unraveling of a partnership that had been built in the spotlight but broken in the shadows. The first consequence was public perception. For years, Kandi and Todd were seen as that powerhouse couple who balanced business with family, ambition with loyalty. They built brands together, produced shows together, raised kids together. They sold the image of unity, not perfect, but strong. So when Kandi admitted that the separation had been brewing for a long time, fans felt blindsided. People weren't just shocked, they were hurt, almost betrayed, because the couple they rooted for was suddenly revealing a reality that didn't match the image they had projected. Then came the family fallout. Sources close to the couple say the children started sensing the shift long before the announcement. One insider reportedly said, "The house didn't feel the same. There was love, but not the love they were used to seeing." Co-parenting discussions allegedly began months prior, with both sides trying to avoid tension, but avoiding tension often meant avoiding each other. And behind closed doors, the emotional consequences were heavier than the public will ever fully understand. Those close to Kandi say she tried everything to preserve the peace. She allegedly kept certain issues private to avoid embarrassing Todd, to avoid damaging the brand they built. But that silence, that desire to protect, eventually became its own kind of burden. A burden she finally admitted she couldn't carry anymore. What shocked fans most wasn't the divorce itself. It was the contrast between what they saw publicly and what was reportedly happening privately. Publicly, Kandi and Todd were smiling at events. Privately, they were reportedly attending counseling sessions full of unresolved tension. Publicly, Todd was posting about family time. Privately, he was allegedly spending more nights away from home, citing projects and late meetings. Publicly, they celebrated milestones. Privately, they reportedly disagreed on everything from finances to parenting styles. The hypocrisy wasn't in the divorce. It was in the illusion of stability that surrounded them for so long. And then there were the legal consequences. While no explosive lawsuit surfaced, sources claim the separation involved quiet negotiations over property, joint ventures, and shared businesses. One insider said they weren't fighting, but it wasn't simple either. Their empire was intertwined: restaurants, projects, production credits, and separating business from heartbreak isn't something anyone can do cleanly. But the most emotionally gripping part came when friends started speaking out anonymously, painting a picture not of villains, but of two people drowning silently in different ways. One friend who reportedly spent time with Todd said he felt unappreciated and overshadowed, believing he wasn't given enough credit for his work. Another friend claimed Kandi felt she was pouring into everyone else while having nothing poured back into her. Those close to the couple say the imbalance grew slowly, so slowly that by the time they noticed, the damage was already done. And while all this unfolded privately, the internet picked a side instantly. Some blamed Todd, calling him distant. Others blamed Kandi, saying fame had changed her priorities. The comments were brutal, dissecting their marriage, their parenting, their personalities. Every tweet, every TikTok, every gossip page added fuel to a fire neither of them wanted. Then came the most dramatic twist of all, the alleged behind-the-scenes betrayal of values. Not cheating, not scandal, not anything explosive, but something worse in a quiet, emotional way. Something that reportedly shook Kandi to her core. People close to the couple say Todd allegedly stopped showing up emotionally, withdrawing, shutting down, and choosing work over connection. And for someone like Kandi, who had built her entire life on loyalty, communication, and teamwork, that felt like the deepest betrayal. Her core value wasn't money, wasn't fame. It was partnership. And when that disappeared, everything else crumbled. Meanwhile, Todd reportedly felt Kandi was too busy, too consumed with her multiple projects, leaving him feeling invisible. Their values clashed, ambition versus presence, independence versus unity. And those clashes became the silent earthquakes that cracked the foundation of their marriage long before the world knew anything was wrong. The timeline of emotional fallout is painful to look at now. First came the distance. Then the separate schedules. Then the cryptic posts. Then the missing ring. Then the red carpet tension. Then the insiders whispering about separate lives. And finally, the silence breaking. And when the silence broke, the world didn't just hear the story. It felt the weight of everything hidden beneath it. Because Kandi didn't point fingers. She didn't expose. She didn't shame. That restraint, that calmness told people everything they needed to know. The real heartbreak wasn't the divorce. It was everything that happened before it. The things only two people in a marriage ever truly understand. And now, with the consequences still unfolding, fans are left wondering if this couple, strong, successful, united, could fall apart this quietly, this slowly, this painfully. What else was happening that they still haven't revealed? So now that everything is out in the open, the quiet distance, the emotional unraveling, the behind-the-scenes tension that reportedly grew for months, we're left with a story that feels bigger than just a celebrity breakup. It feels personal. It feels heavy. It feels like watching a relationship the world once rooted for slowly fall apart piece by piece, all while the couple try to hold it together for the cameras, for their brand, and maybe even for themselves. But here's the question everyone is asking right now. Do you think Kandi and Todd were hiding the truth to protect their family or to protect their image?